My name is Max Highstein. I'm a certified public accountant. I have a master's in business administration. I've taught at the University of Maryland, and I believe it's time that we fix the tax system. When I first started teaching taxes and I first started doing taxes, you could do them by hand. Now, even the simplest returns must be done by computer. The first thing I would do to make it less complicated would do away with the dual system of having alternative minimum tax. The biggest number in the alternative minimum tax is the state income tax. I would limit the state tax deduction to some agreed upon number, no matter how much you pay, and that would be the end of it. That would eliminate the need for the alternative minimum tax. Next idea that I have is to limit the interest deduction on homes to your primary residence only. No longer would I allow an interest deduction for a vacation home or a second home. By allowing that, you're only subsidizing the very, very wealthy. In addition to that, what that does is drive up the prices for individual homes so that the property taxes are much higher than they need to be. Anyone who buys a home for an interest only, I would disallow the deduction as mortgage interest. As far as I'm concerned, that's nothing more than rent. If you don't amortize the principal, then it's not a mortgage. What this would do is would keep foreclosures down, which is what we're suffering from now, and keep the housing prices at a reasonable amount so that ordinary citizens could afford to buy them. The next area of concern that must be remedied are the buys and sales and the capital gains and capital losses. It is humanly impossible to track basis for different stocks. With the reinvested dividends and the breakup of companies and the mergers of companies, there's no way to keep up with it. What they should do is they should have a sales tax on every purchase and every sale, regardless of whether there's a gain or loss, remitted directly from the brokerage houses to the government on a monthly basis. By doing that, it would eliminate 25% of all the record keeping that goes into preparing tax returns. The next area we have to look at are deals with the net worth tax, or some as people call the death taxes. If you want to do away with death taxes, that's fine with me. Here's my suggestion. Anyone who has an estate over $5 million, excluding their personal residence up to $500,000, should pay a net worth tax of some agreed amount percentage every year. If you do that, it won't matter if you leave to your heirs all of your assets, because they will constantly have a tax and the government will constantly collect money no matter who owns the asset. I would do that whether that's a trust or it's owned by the individual themselves. This way the government will be able to collect their fees on a yearly basis based on a net worth. Be very simple. The next area that has to be addressed are the retirement account areas. The 401bs, the 401ks, the 403bs, the simple IRAs, the qualified plans. It's just too much paperwork. It's ridiculous. Let's limit the amount of deduction based on your income to some agreed upon dollar amount. And let's let that be tax deductible when it goes in, and when you pull it out and you're retired and you're in a lower tax bracket, that's when it becomes taxable. If you want a child to go to college, you don't need a 529 plan. The government should take care of any college funding that takes place if the child is able to get in. When the person gets out and they're in the workforce, they'll pay it back in payroll taxes. You'll get it back just like a mortgage. When you buy a house, you don't put all the money down, but by the time you pay the interest and principal back, it's all taken care of. That's the same principle I would use with regards to the 529 plans. I would eliminate them. The final area of concern that I would like to eliminate are state income taxes. As an accountant, I know that in order to do a state tax return, you have to learn 50 different laws. It's like learning the Internal Revenue Code 50 times. It's insane. The state should tell the federal government how much money they need to run their state. The federal government should then put on a surtax on what they're already collecting, which will take care of every state out there. Remit that money back to the state. That's all they have to do. That would eliminate the alternative minimum tax right off the bat. The states would be happy, the federal government would be happy, and to quote the insurance company, even a caveman will be able to do their tax return.